Hello, horror addicts. I'm Kristin Battestella, aka Kbatz, and we don't have Halloween crafts today. 'Tis the season for Mardi Gras, masquerades, and having a little revelry in style. So, with that in mind, I wanted to show you how you could doctor up and upgrade just some really cheap thrift or dollar store masks into something really glam and special. May as well get to the big flashy feathers and plumes. This was actually a thrift store mask, and I've written in some detail on our horroraddicts.net blog some of the step-by-step process of what I've done here. And this was a $3 mask from the thrift store, and obviously I think it must have come from maybe a little more fancy high-end kind of store. For the cost of supplies here, I already had figured what was in my craft closet. I used different feathers and different types of colored glue and flowers and floral kind of pick stems and sticks that I already had. But even those were also dollar store, thrift, or your regular hobby store kind of finds. And this one only needed some touch up on the sequins on it here. That I guess were damaged after a little bit too much partying perhaps. So I didn't have to do anything to this mask, but you could tell that this probably came from maybe like the seasonal Halloween store or the party kind of city stores where you would maybe pay a little bit more than the dollar store mask, obviously, but maybe it would still need some quality, still need some adjustments. So, of course, this was red and black, was much more my style. And in my stash, actually, when I was looking at supplies on how to make the dollar store masks, this is actually the dollar store mask, which you can see kind of has the similar structure. It's just obviously, a little less embellished. So why spend at the big kind of stores for maybe the same amount of quality when you could actually doctor something up yourself? But this one I must have gotten at some point. I found in my stash from Joann's. As you can see, I still had the little card on it. I hadn't used it. And this was actually just the plain mask. And it actually doesn't have any kind of tie to it yet. I'll have to fix that to go around to the so you could actually tie it onto your face to wear it. So maybe that's why it was clearanced or marked down, but it was originally $9.99. So you can see it has a little bit more detail. There's some lace kind of design to it, which I think is really nice. And I added this flower and this feather. This little plume I found, actually, I think it's actually another piece of this, but it worked for this purpose to just make this a little extra. I am tempted to continue to work on this one, maybe add another little black flower or a little dangle something stick on this side. But at the same time, I kind of like that this one is maybe just a little subtle or subdued. And I wrote in my write-up how to report that I kind of like that because these are red and black. They are sort of a his and hers. This one's a little more, peacock kind of boastful, masculine. And that this one is a little maybe more petite, feminine style. So that's another nice fancy kind of thing. You could take something plain and doctor it up for whatever kind of couple costume or whatever season that you may need. This, as you can see, I have two. And once again, I actually found in my stash that I had gotten a third one at some point at the dollar store. So I don't know if it's good or bad that I've gotten in maybe this mindset when I see something and think, oh, maybe, let me get that. I'll end up using it later. And it goes into my stash and maybe I forget about it. Maybe I find it. Maybe I do something worthwhile. Maybe I don't. So this is just the plain of these Dollar Tree masks. And as you can see, they only had one little plain flower and kind of an attempt at some sort of trim. But the mask is actually kind of solid and structured. You can buy completely plain kind of face masks or the half face mask and more of the Phantom of the Opera style. You can kind of always get them maybe at your hobby stores, but I think they're probably a little bit more than the dollar store. But I guess if you wanted, you could start completely bare and rip all this material off or paint on whatever kind of designs that you desire. But this one was purple. So, of course, I went with the yellow. I had said that before in my little Victorian bonnet video that I did, that I was thinking of doing something with the yellow leaves with purple, because I love that kind of contrast, color wheel kind of style design. So I immediately said, all right, yellow with all this purple. And because it already had that little white trim or little silver design, I felt, well, adding more white elsewhere in the plume kind of brings it together. And then again, because it had that little two-tone kind of purple flower, I did light purple kind of feathers. And there were already, as you can see, little beads and gems on these. I'm tempted with this one to experiment with doing nothing but kind of dangle strings of beads, but we'll see. I don't know. But these little grape picks, they're not really grapes. I'm not really sure what they are. I think they're meant to be upright this way. They're, again, from the dollar store, these floral kind of stems. And I think they're just styrofoam, so they kind of break very easily. They just kind of peel and come undone. So this is 2 of them together. And then I actually put some of these loose little ball little beads in any of the little hole kind of spots. And I actually used purple glitter sticks. So that way, if you did see any of the kind of glue, or there were any of these kind of damaged little spots where stuff was chipping off of these, that maybe it would at least have a little bit of color and a little bit of shine. And of course I did that because we were going with purple. I thought that, you know, grapes and the whole kind of bacchanal, kind of Mardi Gras kind of revelry would go together. And because I made this so kind of big, I thought I couldn't leave this little side plain. So just the one little ball spot there with a little bit more feathers, and I don't know, I feel kind of like a bird, but I think this does not look like it came from the dollar store, which I guess is your point. And even though maybe it was another couple dollars for the feathers and the little floral picks, I mean, $4 for this mask. I mean, to me, I always feel like when you buy any kind of costume or any kind of masks and accessories when you're at, you know, the Halloween stores and such, they always tend to be, you know, $15, $20, $25, and you're only wearing them for 1 or 2 nights for whatever party, holiday events. And several years ago, you could actually find maybe things that were of a little more quality. But now it just seems like everything is very kind of fast, like Velcro, sort of stuck together, cheaper materials. And they just don't seem to last for the price. But something like this, I mean, you can have a little pride in that you designed it yourself, and it can be unique and it can be customized. And it was only a few dollars. So if at the end of the night something falls off of it, you know, you don't really have any cost lost. And, you know, it's almost the opportunity of, well, I can add something bigger and better on it, you know, another time. So I kind of like that kind of customized affordability. So I think that's part of half the fun, you know, that you look expensive while actually being terribly cheap. And hey, that's okay. This mask here actually was also a dollar store mask. I've been trying to post some more pictures on Instagram. As some of you who know me, I'm not a smartphone person, so I was reluctant to be a part of Instagram just because I'm not a kind of instant click, snap as you go kind of person. But I like the idea of having a place, you know, in addition to the Horror Addicts blog. Sometimes it's tough to post a lot of the step-by-step pictures in sort of a full size, or maybe you can see some of the detail that I've done. So I hope that maybe on Instagram I'll be able to post a lot more pictures, and I've got different before and after kind of pictures of this mask. This was originally very plain. And again, you know, particularly maybe around Christmas, do you see lots of cute little things like this? These kind of curly Q kind of, I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be, but I see them. And again, I think that maybe they would be some kind of crazy sort of fascinator kind of face, or just some, I don't know, crazy, ridiculous kind of clip in your hair. But these were obviously way too heavy for this little stick kind of one. I was really excited going, oh my gosh, this would look amazing with this, but it's just too heavy. This, as you can see, is not structured like the others. This is just a plain kind of placard with another sort of attachment for all the accessories. And originally this was just nothing but the black feathers that are in here and the stick. And I kind of liked that it was the stick sort of style mask that you kind of hold jazzy like so. And if I knew I was going to make something heavier on it, it would have been smart to do some kind of more sturdy kind of base or backing here. But I just started going a little crazy with this and I couldn't stop. These are black, again, dollar store. They came from some kind of black flower arrangement. And I wanted to use these because of this being so flat. That makes it sort of three-dimensional, that something kind of comes back off of it, sort of over your head, and the feathers can just flow anywhere in between. And I think there was one little fake little jewel kind of central point there, but again, I just used the it's not black, a gray floral little flower sort of stuck on there. And then these, I think, came from a little Christmas sort of stick stems. And I had them going through here for the nice kind of silver pop to match that, and then I just kept going a little crazy again because I felt the need to make this sort of 3D, that it wasn't so flat. So some of these are sort of glued on, and with silver glitter sticks, so that way, you know, if you do see any glue line, at least it is kind of a decorative sort of glue line. And some of them are flat, but then some of them I really just kind of, again, wanted to stick out everywhere. And of course, because I'm me, I wanted, you know, one of these cute little glittery little bats on the side. I have so many jazzy crazy things here. See, I marked my bin with feathers, but yet I've got all kinds of different little, here's purple sticks. And a lot of these maybe purple things, or the bats are, of course, around Halloween. Here they are, the little stick-on kind of bats. That did make this a little heavy, but I was tempted to add even more. But once that got too heavy, I thought, well, I guess I can't continue to kind of add and descend down this side. And then I did glue one of them sort of here down the stick, because I also realized as you're holding it to your face, the more you put on it, maybe things get in your face. And I happened to find this little tassel, which I don't know where it came from. I probably cut it off of something else where I didn't want a tassel. But when I was trying to organize all my materials, I found a little tassel, and I said, hey, I'll make use of this stupid little tassel. And this was another little piece of ribbon. And I felt because I made this so big, and maybe it does end up becoming a little cumbersome to the face, that I just put one of these little slip-on kind of ties to it. So maybe you could hold it a little better, but also if you wanted to let it go while you're wearing your, you know, completely outrageous, ostentatious gown, where you could just sort of hold it down at your side instead of always having to have it in your face. So, yeah, because it's the kind where you're going to be moving it away from your face, I thought I may as well put a bat because people would know it was me. So that was this one. And as I said, I mean, I think I got all of these masks for the price I would have paid for one mask that wasn't as fancy, wasn't as custom at, you know, one of the bigger end stores. And for one night, I mean, if some of this falls apart, like I said, big deal. And I even found yet another really cheap, plain, kind of falling apart kind of mask in my stash, where I was so inspired of, oh my gosh, I could just keep going and keep doctoring masks for no apparent reason, but that's okay. So I think part of this is twofold, is that it's looking for something affordable, that you could do something custom and jazzy and make something really special for yourself, but maybe also having a little bit of a craft supply stash on hand where you could always add an extra feather to something just because you have the feathers. As I said, you can see some of these Kbatz Crafts articles at horroraddicts.net. And I'm trying to work on building up an Instagram so I can show you some more step-by-step behind-the-scenes materials. And I know when we're talking on our horroraddicts.net Facebook group, some folks say maybe they have a little trouble finding some of my other material and everything. So I believe the YouTube videos have different subscribe and notification kind of options, and I always list our horroraddicts.net links. Sometimes I tend to be behind on Horror Addicts. Maintenance tends to be done on Mondays for Horror Addicts. So I tend to, because I'm always late, I'm usually on Tuesday nights. We're trying to get something done on a Friday. So sometimes I'm usually behind. So between our Horror Addicts Facebook group and horroraddicts.net blogs, and now my goofy Instagram, I think you should be able to find some of the ideas and pictures and inspirations that you're looking for. And we have some other great costumers and some different kind of sewing and fashionista things happening on the blogs and on our little conversation groups. So I want you to get involved and take part. And if you're making something kind of crazy and jazzy and ridiculous out of nothing, go ahead and show it to us as well. So I have to get all these feathers put away before the cat comes in the room, like he's waiting to do so. So I'm Kristin Battestella. Kbatz Craft, I believe, of course spelled with the Z, is my Instagram name now. So I'll post all the links, and hopefully I'd love to hear from you as well. So okay, bye.